Welcome to the Service MVP podcast. My name is Joe Crisara, America's Service Coach, and I'm here with two interesting guests. I have both Matt Scott and I also have Ed Smith with Amply. Matt Scott owns a company called Dave's World. I'm going to go ahead and bring both of you guys in together. Matt, would you like to say hi to the people on our podcast today?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here and share some information. And thank you, Joe, for having us.
Right.
So,
And we also have Ed Smith. Ed Smith from a company called Amply, who has a really interesting technology program that he's going to introduce to us today. If you're involved with ductless mini splits and things like that, and you aspire to open up that profit center, Ed's going to show you some really cool stuff there and explain some stuff that we have on that. Ed, do we want to say hi to everybody?
Hey everyone, Joe, thanks for having us. Your reputation precedes you. You've got tons of great clients all over New England, which is mainly where we operate. So I'm thrilled to be here and to meet you in person.
Well, good. Well, let's go ahead and start, if you don't mind, with Matt. Matt, would you want to go ahead and just tell us a little bit about Dave's World? And probably a lot of people in the rest of the United States, outside of Maine, don't know about it, but you have a pretty incredible story. Why don't you tell us about how you got from where you started to where you are now, and how you became one of the people who dominate the cold weather heat pump market? Tell us a little bit more about that.
yeah, no problem. It's a fun story. Started working at an appliance repair shop when I was 14, actually. Started doing service work on appliances locally in our little town of 4,000 people here in Maine. Started in Dexter, Maine. And then at 16, once I got my license, started doing service calls. And I thought it was so interesting that, the service world opened itself up to me because, my dad always said that, nobody could come over and take this job from me. If I could service something and fix a problem for a family, then, that's gold. So didn't go to college, just went straight into the service world. And then Dave's World, that was Scott's Appliance that I created when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
At 18, I had that service company and then attracted a lot of work from this company, Dave's World, that sold appliances. And it was Dave's World because in a small town, they provided so much. They had appliances, cellular. They were the fourth US cellular agent. We did Dish Network, DirecTV, floorings, kitchen, bath. We had a Radio Shack in the store. So that's kind of where the Dave's World comes from. And I was at a young age, I just could fix things, so it attracted the ownership of Dave's World. And after spending a lot of time with the president of Dave's World, as far as business and mountain biking and just hanging out, they really wanted me to join the company. And I, jokingly said, give me a third of the company and I'll join you. And they're like, okay. So I traded my, and then my dad was right. You can solve problems, then the world opens itself up to you. So I became 33% shareholder of Dave's World. And then as soon as I got here, I wanted to go to school. I was like, all my friends have this degree or the certificate. So I talked my business partners and let me go into refrigeration school. Once I got through with that, my business partners, they were very structured and they have budgets and stuff like that. So they gave me a $5,000 budget to go buy all my refrigeration tools because now I had this big idea that I was going to start building walk-in coolers and take care of all the restaurants as well as the household appliances. And while I was picking up all my tools at the local HVAC supply house, I noticed that there was a heat pump on display. And I asked the owner of the company what that was. And he's like, yeah, that's a heat pump, but they don't work in Maine. They don't, this technology doesn't work. And I was like, so why do you have it? And he was like, well, I'm a national brand Johnstone and, I have a showcase. So I have to display this. And it just kind of struck me. And I don't know why, but I was like, put one in the van. I want to try this out. And he's like, well, they're really expensive. And again, Matt, they don't work in Maine. But it's still, I was just so curious about it. So I brought it home, didn't tell my business partners. It was probably the one and only time that I wasn't 100% transparent with my business partners, but I got it home, put it on the wall. And my wife was like, "What is that? And why is it on my wall?" You know, and this is in the summer. I turned that on and it was instant comfort, quiet. It cooled the whole house. Then it goes into heat season, and it reduced my oil bill almost in half. My electric bill didn't move a ton, and I was more comfortable because it was all hydronic. And I'm just like, wow, like this is not an engineering problem. It's an educational and marketing problem.
Yeah.
And Dave's World was a marketing machine back then, as far as Radio Shack. And, you know, they spent a lot of their income on marketing. A lot of companies don't invest into the marketing that is needed to really push the needle. So, after I tried it out, I brought it to my business partners, and even they were like, "What are you doing? You know, like we have so much going on. What are you trying to add to the quiver?" And I'm like, "No, you guys, you gotta check this out." So, a couple of years went by, and I was trying to pitch it to every client that I was in their home, and you know, I sold a couple here and there, and then all of a sudden, the people that I had installed them that trusted me, and that's what it was. It was a local trust. Like, this works. This is a great product. You know, everyone will tell you that they don't work, but it does. And I was struggling with that, even though a few people, then those people would rave about it, and then I'd pick up more clients and stuff like that. And then, you know, I had this aha moment of, "Hey, I guarantee you that you will love this. And if not, I'll give you all your money back. I'll give you 2 years to put this in your house, 2 winters, 2 summers. If you don't like it, I'll give you all your money back, labor, everything. I'll come back, I'll repair your wall, the whole." So then that picked up a lot of traction. Like, wow, like, you know, this guy's serious about this product. And then, of course, I gained the attention of my business partners, and then I put one in my business partner's house, and he was, you know, it was like, "Okay, yeah, you're onto something here." Started moving some boxes, and then all of a sudden the electric company caught wind of it and came to me and said, "We want to do a pilot program with this product." And because they sell electricity, right? So we did a rebate program with their staff, any employee, and that gained the attention of Efficiency Maine, which is, you know, the rebate machine here in Maine. And then after that, it just started picking up traction. And then my business partner came to me and said, "Okay, all right, I'm with you now. Let's start marketing this. Let's hire your replacement in the service world." I went full time into the heat pump world. And then he gave me, as he always does, because he's my leader, my business partner, he was like, "I need 1 of these installed a day, 1 a day." Because I was doing like 1 or 2 a week. And of course, he challenged me, and I took it and hired an apprentice, taught him everything I knew as far as installing it. I was the salesperson, the service guy. Now I had an installer, got a sales guy, and then it just grew legs and really blew up. And we became, you know, in my mind anyway, the first real heat pump company in Maine. And then I joined forces with a good friend of mine that was working at the distributor level with this product. And now fast forward 12 years, it was doing so good. We sold everything else. All the other businesses went 100% ductless. I gained both of my business partners full attention on it. And then it continued to take off. Now we have 110 or so employees, 90 vans on the road. 7, it's going to be soon 7 stores. Right now we're operating out of 5, but I've got 2 in the works. So, and that was you know, sometimes I felt like we were plateauing in the sales world. I believe we mastered the sales process as far as selling well, actually, we're never going to master it. We're always trying to master it. But I think that to get us to the next level is why I'm excited to be here to talk about this product, the software, because in the very beginning of this, the hard part was figuring out all the pieces that are needed to put together a heat pump system and then quote it.
Yeah.
So we built this internal spreadsheet on that would figure out the cost, and it was very very basic, basically. And we used that for years. And a lot of people are like, how are you quoting somebody in their home right then and there and getting it accurate and getting it consistent? And it was just, using Microsoft Excel.
I get it. And so the solution you're talking about is Amply, which allowed you to do the load sizing, or the size of make sure you get the right size of the you're doing that many now. If you get like that many employees, and you do, obviously you made the 1 a day threshold happen very easily at this point. But at that point, it's got to be accurate, right? So the Amply helps you with that, and also it helps you visualize the solution in people's house. Do you want to talk about that, or have Ed talk about that? What do you think? What's best right now at this point?
Yeah, from my perspective, and I'll hand it over to Ed, is that for a very long time, what you do is you go into the home, obviously, and figure out the square footage. You'd figure out how old the home was, the insulation values, how many windows, all that good stuff. And the heat pump is pretty forgiving. It is quite a bandwidth of, it can, because it's an inverter, right? So. Yeah. But you're also competing against everybody else that says they know how to size. So this particular product, I haven't been wowed in a very long time in this industry. This is one of those wow products. It's so cool. I'm gonna let Ed explain how it works, but the only thing that scares me about Amply is that all my competitors are going to get in their hands.
Well, it's like, it's hard to hold great things up, but I always believe in an open hand philosophy, which I think you do too, Matt, which is,
yes, I do.
Which is that open hand means that, opportunity is always there. It's always been there for everybody. And I got chilled on my spine listening to your story, Matt, because you typify an opportunity that's hidden in plain sight, and you bring it to life. And I got a chill down my spine just listening to that story and how you brought it to life. And definitely, I would like to. I could talk to you for hours, truthfully, not just.
I could talk for hours. I'm absolutely passionate about.
I can see that. See, between the both of us, we could probably talk to a stop sign.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
No, but let's go ahead and talk. I'm going to bring in my buddy Ed Smith from Amply. Ed, thanks, Dave. I'll come back to you in a few minutes here. But Ed, when I first saw the solution, you came to me and it was like, "Who's this dude?" Right? And I was like, so I'm like, okay, he's a little strange. And then you showed me the thing where basically, I'll just give you my thumbnail of it, everybody. Basically, you walk into a room and you got your cell phone on your camera. As you're walking into the room and you point it at the walls, it kind of references the room and kind of centers itself in the room. And then all of a sudden, there's like white outlines that start to paint themselves in each corner of the room and floor, each baseboard, corner, and ceiling and wall. And it starts to calculate the measurements of the room as you're having your cell phone on it. And then rotate around the entire room, and each room of the house configure the heat load calculation and some of the other factors which Ed will talk about. And then on top of all that, at the end he showed me that you can actually see the outdoor condensing unit, what it will look like in the backyard. You can see you can take the ductless head and one of the heads or the consoles and put them in the room so the consumer can kind of get a visualization what that looks like. That's my introduction, Ed. Do you want to go ahead and take it from here? I think I gave your whole presentation. I didn't mean to do that. But,
I was going to say, Joe, you did it for me, and you did it spectacularly. Maybe I'll add like a couple of things. So after 20-year careers at age 40, one of my best friends from college and I quit our jobs to start Amply. We actually didn't start as a software company. We started as basically a whole home electrification general contractors.
Got it.
A lot of folks want to put on solar and an EV charger and a battery and heat pumps and heat pump hot water, and those jobs are complicated. And so we started Amply to work with homeowners to do that sort of work. And that's how we got to meet Dave's World. In doing a bunch of homes in Maine, Dave's World did our heat pump work. And so we saw the spectacular work that we did, and the reputation precedes them. But in all of that, in all those projects we did, we built that business to $1 million in revenue in under 12 months. We learned a bunch, which was when I would do those plans, Joe, 90% of my time was spent on HVAC. And 100% of the risk was in the HVAC. The only call you get at 2 a.m. is if the HVAC goes out. Everything else waits until the morning. It's more to all the cost is. It's more expensive than solar. And the best contractors, like Dave's World, they didn't really care about the business I was bringing them. So I was talking to Matt. I was talking to his partners. They do so many homes. Like, I would have to be giant for them to be interesting. Like, their phones are ringing off the hook. What we saw was with heat pumps, Ductless, there's a paperwork problem, a bigger paperwork problem than HVAC I think has ever seen, with the load sizing, the system design, the equipment selection, the quotes, the rebate management, because every homeowner knows there's rebate money out there. And we had built ourselves like pretty terrible software to make that easier. And that's why we founded Amply. That's why we pivoted Amply to now the software solution. We think we're making the ultimate heat pump sales tool. We think that kitchen table close is now incredibly possible. You don't need to go back to the office and do the heat load calculation or bust open RightSoft or CoolCalc or whatever it is. You can do it all there and spin it around and show the homeowner a quote. To your point you made earlier, Joe, like, you know, what's my living room going to look like? Folks can now see exactly what that is. And for the problem that happens all the time, where one decision maker is home, just one spouse is home, when they get home that night and they just see a quote with a bunch of model numbers, they don't really know what they're buying. But with our output, with our system design documents, they do. So I appreciate you and Matt kind words. I feel like saying it out loud almost doesn't do it justice. So what I would encourage anyone who's interested, just check out our website, because you can see some videos there of the solution in action. And it really is as quick as it is. Like, on my iPad right now, to scan this really funky room I'm in here and outside Boston with these like weird eaves. I mean, in 5 seconds, I would have precise dimensions for all of this in a heat load calculation.
It really takes the mystification out of it. And, you know, I think a lot of times I think the normal heat load calculation exercise disconnects us from customers, right?
Yes.
This allows us to coordinate or collaborate with customers as we kind of go through it. And the customer's experiencing this technology. And I think the thing that I have experienced was when I saw it was like, holy crap. These guys are sharp. Like, that's the first thing I thought would be like, man, if they got this part down, I got so much more peace of mind that this will work. Because in a place like Maine or a place like Minnesota, or, you know, the cold weather heat pumps especially, there's that doubt, like, am I really going to take all that stuff out and just and I think there's a sort of thing that gives you that peace of mind. And that's kind of what I felt, is that the consumer, because I felt that way myself when I experienced, like, oh, I can really see how this would give me so much more confidence that we were going to get the right size and everything would be going to work correctly on this thing. Because it's like if they got this part down, obviously installing a heat pump is going to be easy compared to getting all this part, right? I
think what's so interesting about his product is that, again, I was very wowed by the heat pump, and that heat pump, as a salesperson, I could sell it with 100% confidence. Like, I know you're going to love it. Like, I wasn't worried that the product wouldn't wow that client. And I haven't been wowed like that since this product. This product is one of those, like, wow, I haven't seen something this cool in the sales world in so long, that I know that every person that starts using this is going to immediately see results as far as close ratios, and the customer having a better experience to see what they're going to get, right? If somebody goes in with this software and somebody doesn't go in with this software, the customer I can't even imagine them not going the route that this displays for them. And that's really why I'm excited to be here on behalf of Ed, is because it's one of those products that you would never return.
And that's how, to me, it relates to sales part of it, which is this. I think you're just kind of pushing us right to a sales truth that everybody who's listening to this podcast, and you and I and Ed and everybody knows it, is that if you're trying to sell something, we cannot sell things we don't believe in, right? If we believe in it, nobody will talk me out of it. Like if I believe this is the best solution, and I think that's really what Ed's solution does, which is makes the salesperson sold. Because I think the first person who sold that somebody should get a solution is you, the salesperson. If you don't believe in what you're selling, it's going to be a half-assed presentation, weak, and all kinds of weak language. Go ahead, comment on that, Matt, if you want to.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, with everything you just said. And I also believe that the customer deserves to, especially with this kind of investment, right? You have to get it right. You can't, it's a huge investment. You're talking several thousands of dollars, and this product not only sizes it. This is the best part. I know it involves the client. Okay, so when you have that up, you are designing the system with that client next to you. You're taking almost the focus off the major, like what they thought was probably the biggest problem is what is it going to cost me, right? And then it goes into them helping design their own home. They're walking through you. The software is doing so much of the work that you typically would be doing that you are now focused more on the relationship, the long-term relationship with them. Because the software, again, is doing the work. So you have way more time to sell yourself, the company, and build that relationship. And then you don't have to leave. You can do the quote right then and there. And then ask them to trust you, which that's what I say when I get done. Will you trust me with this project? Well, the trust is proven because this computer helped generate that trust. This is how many BTUs this room needs. This is your heat loss. Here's the report. This is what it's going to look like. And here's your price. And then I can't even imagine that we call him, I'm sure everyone's heard this, a chuck in a truck, right? He shows up and gets out his tape measure or doesn't even measure the space and says, I'll get back to you with the price.
Yeah.
It's
two different degrees of professionalism. And I think that I see that 100%, and truthfully, everywhere else around the country too, not just in the northern. This isn't just for northern states, because I would say someday in the future, people are going to say, like 10 years, like say 20 years from now, they're going to say, hey, do you believe what they used to do back in 2023? What they used to do? Yeah, they used to take the air from the master bedroom, bring it down to the basement, heat it and cool it, and bring it back to the room. Do you believe they used to do that? Well, didn't they have ductless? Didn't they have ductless? Oh yeah, they had it. So that's one of my favorite things. I'm like, this is like the future is either you got to seal and fix the ductwork, and why would we drag the air that far anyway? So just like let's heat and cool the air when it's in the room instead of dragging it out of the room and doing it again. I just think this is a glimpse. That's why I love this so much, because it's a glimpse of where I think the future of HVAC really is going, which is personal comfort for everybody, every single person in every room of the house. And Matt, kudos to you for bringing this idea to life and having you and I are two brothers and another mother. I always do stuff like that and just I'm going to try something anyway and just to test the boundaries. But Matt, thanks for doing that and disrupting the market in Maine. I can imagine talking to those staunch Maine New Englanders and saying, "Yeah, we're going to put this little box in your room."
Oh, it was like selling snake oil. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. And when you have something that it's like a secret. I have a secret and I want to tell you about it, and you're not going to believe me, but once you know the secret, it's like, wow, how did I not know about this, or why didn't I do this sooner? And it's just so exciting. And I think that same secret carries over to the way that the sales process goes. And this is a secret. This software added to your already fine-tuned sales force can get better.
Yeah.
I've spent years and years and years trying to refine the sales process. And then along comes Ed. And again, it's just, that's why I'm excited to be here, is because I want to I know that I think that contractors that are listening to this can trust the fact, you know, we've sold so many heat pumps and installed so many of them in so many years that I want to be here not only for Ed, but for the people listening, because just like literally get a hold of Ed, use this product, your sales will go through the roof. You're crazy not to, you know, it's one of those products. And I don't want to, and I'm not, and the best part about it is I don't work for Amply. I don't,
Yeah.
you know, I'm here saying, you know, Ed asked me to be on here, and I feel like it's a duty of mine to help spread the word in this industry, because our jobs are hard enough.
Got it. Got it. I got that. Thanks, Matt, for doing that. Ed, you got any final words before we wrap this up? That's kind of, they always say the good podcast starts on time and a great one ends on time. So you want to give us some final words on how people can look at this solution? And obviously, it sounds like you go to your website, but go ahead and tell us a little bit more about you and how we can people can start integrating this solution into their business.
Mostly, I have gratitude for you two. Like the fact that two folks like you think this thing has promise is like the greatest compliment in the world. If anyone wants to check it out, go to www.amply.energy. That's our website, and just click book a demo. You'll just share your contact information, and I will respond. That literally goes directly to me. We're a small company right now. I handle all of that stuff, so I would look forward to emails from anyone who is interested in checking it out.
amply.com.
AMPLY. That's right.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Ed, and thank you so much, Matt, for sharing your story. Definitely, I think everybody got a lot of value from this, and so they can see new possibilities and a small glimpse into the future. I'm definitely happy to see people. We can kind of get that futurist mindset. Thanks a lot, everybody. I appreciate you. We'll see you guys in the future. Thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks.